regret is what happened in Benghazi. It was a terrible tragedy, losing 4 Americans, 2 diplomats, and now it's public, so I can say 2 CIA operatives, losing an ambassador like Chris Stevens, who was one of our very best and had served in Libya and across the Middle East and spoke Arabic and was really well regarded by the vast majority of Libyans whom he came into contact with. So it was a great loss. It was a great loss to our foreign service, a great loss to our country, and it illustrated one of the biggest problems that I faced as Secretary of State. We have a lot of dangerous locations where we send not our military, but our civilians. And they go in, they have language skills often, they try to assess what's going on in the area, but they are vulnerable. And there were about, I don't know, 20 or 30 sites around the world that we watched constantly. You know, what people don't remember, because there hasn't been a lot of coverage, is that during that week, we had very intense riots and attacks on embassies in many places. In Cairo, it was very serious. They breached the walls. In Tunisia, I literally had to call and just demand that the president of Tunisia send presidential guard to protect our embassy from, you know, several thousand demonstrator, terrorist, mixed group. So we were constantly trying to assess, what do we do? Because if the United States pulls out of places, which sometimes we have to do, what are we leaving behind? And we not only are leaving behind sort of the diplomatic experts that connect with people, but very often we're leaving behind intelligence platforms because, as you probably surmised from what happened in Benghazi, we had a very small outpost there. The CIA had a very big, well-defensed one. 2 of our people died at the outpost. 2 died on the roof of the CIA annex. So, you know, it's a constant balancing, and you know, I had to do that all the time, and obviously it was a great personal loss to me since I sent Chris Stevens to Libya the first time. And we're watching what happens when a country is so abused and misused by a dictator for so long, and there's no real infrastructure, there's no government that functions, there's no military with a military tradition that can stand up against terrorists and militias. So it's a dangerous world that we're in, and we have to be constantly asking ourselves, what's the best decision?